Imagine you wrote one piece of code, fed it the world's financial data, and it just never lost. Every trade a winner. You'd own everything in about a decade. That's the fantasy I keep running into when people ask about AI and the stock market. The dream of an algorithm that always wins. So I went digging because that fantasy is the spine of one of the systems I write about. And the truth is stranger and more humbling than the dream. Let's start with what actually exists because it's not nothing. Quant funds are real. Places like Renaissance Technologies, with their famous Medallion Fund, have posted returns that genuinely shouldn't be possible if you believe markets are perfectly efficient. So the dream isn't pure fiction. But here's what those funds actually do, and it's not what the movies show you. They're not predicting that a stock will go up next year. They're hunting tiny, fleeting statistical edges, a pattern that gives them a 51% chance instead of 50. Then they make that bet millions of times, fast with enormous discipline. It's closer to running a casino than reading a crystal ball. The house doesn't know what any single roulette spin will do. It just knows the math works out over a million spins. And notice, Medallion is mostly closed to outside money, and it's small relative to the whole market. That's a clue. The edge is real, but it's narrow, and it shrinks the more money you push through it. So why doesn't somebody just build a bigger, smarter version that predicts everything? Why do markets resist prediction so stubbornly? The first reason is the deepest, and it's called reflexivity. In most science, observing a thing doesn't change it. The weather doesn't care that you forecast rain. But a market is made of people reacting to predictions. The moment your AI spots a reliable pattern and starts trading on it, it changes the very pattern it found. If everyone knows a stock rises every Monday, they buy on Sunday, and the Monday rise disappears. The market eats its own forecasts. The signal destroys itself the instant it's used. The second reason is black swans. Markets don't move on smooth, predictable curves. They move in sudden, violent jumps that no historical data could have warned you about. A pandemic, a bank collapsing over a weekend, a war. An AI trained on the past is, by definition, blind to the genuinely unprecedented. And the genuinely unprecedented is exactly what moves markets the most. Put those together, and you get what economists call an efficient-ish market. Not perfectly efficient. There are crumbs of opportunity, which is why quant funds exist, but efficient enough that any obvious, durable, easy edge gets discovered and erased almost instantly by thousands of other very smart, very well-funded machines hunting the same crumbs. It's a war of attrition where every victory erases itself. So could an AI predict the market? In the narrow sense, finding a faint edge and exploiting it ruthlessly? Yes, and people are quietly getting rich doing exactly that. In the grand sense, the oracle that sees the future and never loses, no. The thing actively fights back against being predicted. It's less like forecasting the tides and more like trying to outsmart a crowd that's also trying to outsmart you all at once, forever. Which brings me to the idea that wouldn't leave me alone while I was writing. Every real system tries to predict one slice, a currency, a commodity, a few thousand stocks. But what if you stopped trying to predict the market and instead tried to model the entire economy? Not the prices, but the people. Every shipment, every loan, every nervous decision fed into one machine that understands the machine underneath the numbers. Because here's the unsettling part. A system that good wouldn't just predict the economy. At a certain scale, predicting it and steering it become the same act. And that's the line I kept circling. The moment a forecast stops describing the world and starts deciding it. Now let me be crystal clear. Everything I just laid out is fiction. None of it is a prediction, a recommendation, or advice of any kind about money or anything else. So please don't treat it that way. But in a tech world moving as fast as ours, ideas like these aren't as far off as they sound, and that's exactly what makes them worth thinking about. If any of this got the gears turning, drop a comment below. I read every single one. And if you want to go deeper, the whole world of it lives in the books at p-files.com.